everybody, my name is Joey. I got my Potomac beads treasure box for the month of September 2025 and it's gorgeous. It's called Ocean Vault, and to be honest, this is one of those boxes where I really don't want to do an unboxing. I just want to say here's the beads and I want to start making. I'm going to do 2 pairs of earrings today with my beads, and then I'm going to come back in a second video because there is a focal that I'm in love with, and I'm going to do a full necklace in my next video, but I'll just show you. This is my first earring sample and this is my second one. I love both of them so much, but like this one is so fun and flirty and a little bit edgy with a giant negative space, you know, like the rings and the dangles. So we're gonna do both of those. So I'm gonna go through this really fast. Every month in the treasure box, first of all, it comes in it's a little bit big to fit under the camera, but it comes in a magnetic reusable box that you can put labels on. So I always love getting that. And they try to pretty much always give us something for our work tables, something that's not a bead. And this month we got this 7-strand coated nylon stainless steel bead stringing thread, a whole spool. And they always try to put seed beads as far as I can remember. So we got these beautiful 80 Azuki silver lined turquoise seed beads. I love these little bead caps. These, I did use them. I'll show you kind of what they look like. I used one in this earring. They are like little glass bead caps, little flower bead caps. Come up close to the camera. And I love this color mix too. It's a pack of 36. But I also like to use these to sew them flat, like on a bracelet that I need an embellishment for. They're really fun for that. And then we got 2 other flowers. We got a tulip bead and we got this bellflower bead. And I'm crazy about that colorway. I can't wait to show you. I made my own bead mix to match these flowers. I can't wait to show you. And then we got a pack of 42 metallic turquoise green storm duos. And those are really cool. I love getting 2 whole beads. They're so much fun to play with. And then we got a pack of 50 of these gorgeous peridot dagger beads, the Azuki seed beads. These are going in several of my projects. I love these little 3mm check glass cubes. They're in a matte cobalt blue. Aren't they amazing? They just look so great. So as you see, I've used them in this earring, and they're going to be coming up in my next project too, that when I come back to do my necklace, you're going to see a lot more of those. I think I'm using every single one of them. They're so wonderful. And then we got these metallic round trio beads in this metallic aqua. Those are so cool. What I love about these, if you need a 3-hole bead for any design, you definitely have that here. But with a round trio, if you only string through the center hole, it's just a regular 6mm bead. So you don't have to, you really can use this in so many ways. You have the 3, you can use the 2 outer holes, you can use the center hole, and it almost just looks like a pretty metallic turquoise blue bead. It's wonderful. And then we got bicone crystals, a pack of 60 in each. This one's opaque fern AB, and this one is a Montana blue, and these are just so wonderful. Most of your, a lot of bead weaving projects call for bicones. They just fit together so well, and these are such high quality. I just love the sparkle. They're just gorgeous, gorgeous. I love the 2 colors too, and I have popped those into my projects as well. And then look at this, you guys. These are wonderful. This is a strand of check glass faceted peridot rounds in a 10mm. They're just wonderful. So I popped one of those in the middle of this earring. And then I'm totally in love with this focal bead. This is a magnesite turquoise. It is a gemstone, and I just love the crackle in there. I love the dimension of this. This is absolutely stunning, and I love barrel beads. So this long barrel with these faceted, I'm going to call them facets, just thrills me, and that's going to be going in my necklace project. That's going to be my focal. Wait till you see what I'm going to add to it. I'm so excited. And then we got these gorgeous butterflies, little check glass butterflies with the AB finish. They are just stunning. Always fun to have those. And I love it when we get check glass pearls We got this really pretty green, lustrous green,
this amazing
glass pearl,
6mm.
That's the sweet spot for me. I just love that size bead, but I don't know. I never know if the camera's really showing you what I'm seeing with my eye, but that is just gorgeous. The quality of these is amazing. You can always tell with glass pearls if it's high quality by the finish around the holes, and these are just, you know, wonderful. And then you guys, I can't believe this is in the box, this gorgeous clasp, garden clasp. This is wonderful. It's a little hard to open it when there's no beads on it, but just close it and pull this out. This, when you're doing something like a special bead weaving project, it's so wonderful to have a beautiful clasp like this. And I have some bracelet projects coming up, but look at this. This is just stunning. I love this clasp. This is so pretty, and I don't have anything like this in my stash. So you'll be seeing this again, but look how gorgeous that is. And then let's see, what did I miss? Oh, the rings. Oh my goodness, these are so cool. These are 30mm brass endless form rings. So they're nice and sturdy, like they're very thin, but they're nice and sturdy. You really can't bend them. So you can actually like peyote stitch right onto these and make a full hoop. But I opted for my project to do a little peyote stitch, kind of a bail, and, you know, just let the negative space and just let the ring just be featured, and everything on my earring is just floating and dangly and flirty and like it's so fun. I'm crazy about this earring, and it's so simple, you guys. So let me clean up, and we're going to do both of those earrings pretty quickly. Okay, let's do this first earring because it takes a little bit less time. Both my designs are very, very simple, and really I think anybody could do this. But this one takes a little less time because we don't need to thread a needle and thread. So what I'm going to do is create a little pattern with 12 of my cube beads. Go ahead, I'm using 22 gauge wire. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I make this frame, I need to wrap the wire back through, back around itself. And you could do it with 20 gauge. I've done that, but I didn't really think it was necessary. And I'm just taking some gold check glass seed beads from my stash. These are 11-0, and you're going to see these reappearing in my next project too. I'm going to keep all these pieces with kind of the same elements so that I can, you know, mix and match my pieces. So for the pattern, I'm going to start with 2 of the cube beads with no seed bead spacer in between, and then I'm going to thread a seed bead on in between all the other ones. So there will be 6 cubes on each side. Let me get it strung, and I'll show you why I'm doing that. Okay, so I have no seed bead in the middle of what's going to be this circle, and I have 6 cubes on either side and ending with a cube, because this top is where I'm going to make my earring, and I don't need a seed bead there. And I do want to leave a little bit longer piece of wire on one side than on the other, because that's going to become the ear wire on this earring. So I'm just going to kind of start making this into a circle. Just take my time and form it into a little circle. It's only 22 gauge wire, so it's super easy to form this. I do need this wire to reach through the center of my ring, because it's going to get wrapped right here in between the 2 cube beads where we did not put a seed bead. So I'm just going to form this into a circle and just bring this wire down and this wire up. And you know, I'm going to fuss a little bit like I do. Nylon jaw pliers are great for anything you're doing with wire, but I just want to get this, particularly this wire, nice and straight, because that's going to become my ear wire. And I'm going to come with the shorter wire and just do 1 wrap around the top. and bring it to the back. And then pull it down so that it's kind of going through the center of the circle, and it's kind of on the back side. I'm almost making like a little window. Like the frame is almost like a window into, you know, what I'm going to put in the middle. Okay, so we're looking like that. I did just one wrap around, and you can work on your shape even a little bit more after you do the next step. But I'm ready to thread on my beads, and I'm just going to copy this. I put one 11-0 seed bead right at the top. It just filled in the space in my little frame. You barely see it, but it just filled in the space a little bit. And then one of my flower caps facing down, and then one of those beautiful 10 millimeter beads. And so now I'm going to bring, to get my fingers out of the way, I'm going to bring this wire in between the two cubes where we have no seed bead, and just poke it through and pull it tight and just secure this in this little frame. So you can do a lot of this with your fingers. Just going to bend that up like that and get that through the circle, and reach from behind and grab it and just pull. Just get it nice and secure. Just give it a little tug before we trim it away. Perfect. Now I can come to the back and snip it off and tuck and tidy. That's going to be my new phrase, tuck and tidy. So it's looking like that, and I'm just going to repeat the stack that I have, one of the Potomac pearls, a bead cap, and one of the 4 millimeter blue bicones. And that's what the earring looks like. This is going to be the back side, and this is going to be the front side. So I'm going to come right at the top of my bicone, just make sure that everything is where I want it, and I'm going to give this a 45-degree bend toward me. And what that bend does is keeps that bicone in place. You can use any bail making plier that you want. I used this middle step here, and so I'm going to put this wire in so that I will be wrapping around that step, and I want to make sure that everything is facing the front, and I'm just going to bend that wire over the back, and I've just formed my earring. And I'm going to match it up to this one and trim it off, and the first little pair of earrings is done. You can leave it just straight like that if you want, but I usually come to the end here and just kick my end out. It just makes it look a little bit like a fancy ear wire. And then you can use a metal buffing block, anything to take the sharpness off the end of the wire. I like my battery operated reamer. I don't have the reamer attachment, I have the wire rounder attachment, and you just fit your wire in the little cup at the end and press the button, and like just that fast. I wish you guys could feel that. It's so smooth. The sharpness of any of the cut is completely gone with just like that. These are just lovely, and they were pretty fast and very fun to make. Okay, on to the next one. I can't wait to show you. So I have gone into my stash and made my own bead mix with literally 11-0 Delica, Miyuki Delica beads that match the colors of the flowers. So I just put 2 of the little flowers in my beading tray here, and I just did a little mix, just a little custom mix. And when I peyote stitch, you just get like all the colors of the ring and the flowers and everything that's going to go in that. So this is, let me show you what it was. These were on clearance. I am a clearance shopper. These were 11-0 Miyuki Delica, and it's opaque cactus is this one. And I don't know why these were on clearance. This one's frost opaque rainbow soft blue, but I also have just some unmarked bronze And that's I just made my own little Miyuki bead mix. And that's what I'm going to be working from. I have a number 10 beading needle here, and I'm going to be stringing on some 10-pound beige wildfire. And you don't need much of anything for this, like not even a wingspan. So I'm just going to cut this and get my needle threaded. This is odd count peyote stitch, and there's several ways to make your turn on the odd count peyote, and I have a favorite way. My friend Gail, who is amazing at bead weaving, showed me how to do this, and I've been dying to share it with you guys because it's so cool. So to thread your needle easily, take your pliers, any pliers that you have, and just flatten just make the end of your thread flat, and it will go through the eye of your needle really fast and easy that way. Okay, I'm going to pull that down, and I am not going to put a stop bead on this because it's odd count peyote, and this is such a fast stitch. I did 7 beads in a line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads. So to start off, we're going to pick up 7 beads, and I'm just letting it be random. I'm just like diving into my little mix here. Okay, so I have 7 beads on my needle, and I'm going to get those down to the end, but for the method that I'm going to use for making my rows, you have to have a long tail thread. You have to have a tail thread that is the length of your piece. So I don't need it to be really long because I'm not doing much, but if I were doing a bracelet, then I would need my tail thread to be at least the length of my bracelet and then some. Because this is when we turn on an odd count peyote, and I'll show you, it sounds difficult to understand when you're explaining, but when you turn, you don't have a bead on an odd count, and you have to find a way to turn to start your next row. And so I'm going to do the traveling tail method. So this tail of thread is going to travel along the length of my stitching. So I'm going to lay my 7 beads on my finger without a stop bead and let my long tail be coming out the top of my work. And I do not mind telling you this first row is wiggly. It's you just have to get it in there the best that you can. So this is normal peyote. I'm going to pick up my first bead, and I'm going to skip this bead and go into my second bead. And the best thing I can tell you is you're holding all of this on your finger, so kind of get it in place and put your thumb over your work. Can even get this tail thread. So I'm just getting it. I know you can't see, but I'm doing it this way, and I'm going to just put my thumb over my work and pull. And like I say, it doesn't even look like I've done peyote stitch at this point, but just get it in there, get it all on your finger, pull tight, do whatever you have to do to get those first 2 beads laying right beside each other. I use my needle a lot of times to help me get it started. Okay, so like that. You can give I just gave my tail thread a little tug, and that helped. Okay, so I'm going to pick up another bead and skip the next bead that I'm coming out of this bronze one. I'm going to skip that green one, and I'm going to put my needle in the blue one. And again, I'm going to just put my finger over my work and get that. I'm just going to, whatever it takes to get this first row in here. And I know it's weird not to have a stop bead, but you'll see why I don't have one when I get to the end of this row. And it helps to like take your tail thread and wrap it around your finger, and it's going to need to be in that position for this traveling method here. So I'm going to do another one. Just pick up a bead, skip the next bead, and put my needle through the next one, put my thumb over it, and pull. Now you can see I'm at the end of the row, and here's where with odd count peyote you're stuck because there's nowhere to go when you pick up a bead and skip a bead. I only have one left. So it's really important that your tail thread be a little bit taut and over your finger like that. And then I'm going to pick up my next bead like I normally would. And since I have nowhere to go, I'm making this turn. I'm going to put my needle underneath my tail thread like that. And it's really important that the bead that I've picked up stays on this side of my work, on the right side. And I'm going to pull, and this is making that turn. And now I'm going to go back down through this same bead. And I've got myself looped. There we go. I'm going to go back down through this same bead. And when I pull, you'll see that I've started my next row. And it pulls, go really slow. It pulls, can you see the loop that it made right here? When I pull this, it's going to pull a little bit of my tail thread. And so it's hidden inside the bead. And now we're in position to do the next row. Let me get my fingers out of the way. And you know, it's still a little wiggly, but once you get to that point, it's really easy from there. And what I love about this traveling tail method on odd count peyote is across the top here, there's minimal thread showing. So let me pull my earring in. Can you see there's like almost no thread showing on either side as you go from row to row. And I did that on this ring as well. And I love that because you really don't see the thread down. This is odd count peyote on my ring band, and you really don't see the thread when you do that. So now it's regular peyote. Pick up a bead, skip the recessed bead, and go through the next. Did I lose it? No, it's there. Go through the next bead that's sticking out. And you know, like anything, when you're just starting out, those first couple of rows, they're a little tricky. I mean, you just have to be really patient and go slow and get yourself lined up. So I'm going to just get to the end of this row, picking up a bead and skipping a bead and going through the bead that's sticking out. So you're just adding a bead to every other one, and it's already starting to look great. So at the bottom here, we're just going to go back up. So I'm coming out my bottom bead here. I'm going to pick up a bead and go right to the next one that's sticking out. And get back to the top. Pull that into place. Give it a little tug. So it looks like that. Next bead sticking out. And I believe I only did 9 rows to make this tiny little bail. So it's not a lot of work, but it's so effective in the earring. Okay, so I'm at the top again, and there's nowhere for me to go. So I'm going to make sure that I have this tail thread kind of tight over my finger, and I'm going to pick up my bead and go under that tail thread, making sure that when I pull, that my bead that I'm adding is staying on the right side. So I'm going to pull. And now you can see I'm I'm looping around my tail thread, which is over my finger, and I'm going to go down through the bead that I just added. And when I pull, you see the little loop that's right there, and I'm going to give it a tiny tug, and it pulls the tail thread right over to the next position, and I'm in position to do my next row. I absolutely love this. It's so much fun, and after you get a few rows on, it's really it's like you can just really go with it. It's so fun. A little twist in my, pop that one into place, and I'm going to keep going. Okay, I'm at the top again, so I'm going to make sure my working thread is here. My tail thread is taut over my finger. Pick up my next bead and go under the thread, making sure my bead stays on this side of my work. And when I pull, I'm making a loop around my tail thread. And now I'm going to go down through that bead that I just added. Put my thumb over my work, and now when I pull, you see I'm making that little loop and pull that tail thread, and you just almost don't see any thread. It's almost like the beads are magically held together with this method. It's my favorite. There are quite a few ways to turn around on odd count peyote, but this is my favorite way, and ever since my friend Gail showed me this, that's what I do. I don't really do it any other way anymore. Okay, I am all finished, and the way you know that you're ready to zip up, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and just to double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and when I look at my piece, my I don't have a bead on the end of this end of my bail, and I do have a bead on the end, and so when I fold these together, I can zip that up, and it will fill in the space. So I'm going to take my ring and put it in the middle of my little bail, and I'm going to line up the teeth so that you'll see there that they line up like opposites. So the ones on this side are going to fill in those spaces, and when it's zipped up, it will be an infinity. So I'm coming out this bead here. I'm going to go in this one, and you're basically going to zigzag left to right. So if it helps to hold it this way, sometimes that helps me to not miss a bead. Then I'm going to go to the sticking out bead on the right, and then the sticking out bead on the left, and then the sticking out bead on the right, Okay, and you'll see when you open it out that you can't see where you zipped up. You have this like really pretty little tube. So I'm going to go back through and reinforce a little bit. And then I made an additional little bail. I made a bail on the bail for this because I thought it was really cute and I thought it hung really nice from the ear wire. Let me show you. And then I'll show you what I did. I took 5 of those seed beads and just popped it right in the top. And I just thought it was just an extra little something, and it makes it dangle really, really pretty. So I'm going to go at a diagonal. Where am I coming out? Right here. I'm going to go at a diagonal down and then get back up to the top here. But this is kind of just reinforcing where I've brought it together. And it's not a heavy, there's nothing heavy here. So see how I'm just going in a diagonal so you really don't see my thread. And now I'm going to go get back over here. Side. You see where I'm coming out? And I'm going to pick up 5 of my check glass 11-0 seed beads. Let those come down. And now I'm going to jump over to the corresponding bead, which is right here, the second one to the end. And you'll be able to see when you pull it if you've centered that little seed bead loop. Of course, my thread is twisted there. So see how we have this perfect little peak. And now I'm going to reinforce. And again, I want to follow my diagonal thread path so that you don't see my thread. Okay, and you can tie off, trim, whatever you want. I've woven in and out so many times now that I'm just going to take my scissors and snip those threads. I'm really careful to put my needles away when I'm finished working because I have a dog and a cat and they can really get hurt on needles. Okay, and then what I did is that same 22 gauge wire, it's just craft wire, I made 3mm jump rings. And like I said, just for extra design, I'm going to open that jump ring and slip it through the top seed bead. Just slip it right through like that. And I can go ahead and add that to my ear wire. These were already open a little bit, so I'm going to close my ear wire. And I can add that right to my ear wire and close it. Look at that, it's so gorgeous. I love these earrings. I mean, honestly, you could be done there. That would be a really, really pretty earring too. So honestly, you could be done right there and just have this fantastic pair of hoop earrings. And they're so lightweight, even with this extra dangle, they're very lightweight and they're just fun. But I took a ball head pin and just did a very simple little stack. Let me smooth this out. I started with a tulip flower. And then I put one of the 4mm green bicones, and then I put a bellflower facing up, and then I took an 8-0 seed bead in that it matches, but it's 8-0, and that is my little stack. And I'm just going to put a simple loop in the top of this little stack, give my wire a bend, and get a simple loop in here. Open it and add it. so that the opening of my simple loop is to the back of my earring. On this pair, it doesn't really matter because they're so dangly that they're going to constantly spin. I'm going to close that simple loop really well and make sure everything is straight. Make sure that loop is straight. It needs a little attention. I love these ball head pins, but they're kind of fine gauge, and so they get you have to take a moment to straighten them. Okay, look at this. Isn't that fun? I really hope you guys will give this little teeny tiny peyote stitch bead weaving a try if you're not a person that does that. I really hope you'll give it a try because you just add so much to your jewelry repertoire when you can master another little skill like that. I started bead weaving about 20 years ago, and then I got really burned out and I put it down for many years. So for the last year, I've been doing beaded beads and simple little bails and things like this to kind of get back into it a little bit. But I love it so much, and it adds a dimension to your pieces that you just can't get otherwise. It's just so cool, and it's so fun and so gratifying. So check the description box under this video for my links to Potomac beads. The treasure box is a wonderful sampler of check glass and findings and crystals and pearls, and usually they give us a tool or a supply or something for our work table. It's a really wonderful box. But I always like to remind you guys, because it's true for me too, if you're not interested in getting another box every month, the Potomac Beads website is so amazing for jewelry makers. It's highly organized and packed. There's a section for seed beads of every size, every shape, every color. There's a section for crystals. There's a section for the Athena cast line, and for findings. There's a section for tools. There's a section for multi-hole beads. So, the beam beads and the gem duos and round trios, like any pattern that you come across, anything that you might want to make, you can find your supplies there. And my beloved, the best product that I have found for anti-tarnish is the Permalac Coating, and I've tried so many, and this one dries fast. I use the semi-gloss most of the time. It's also available in matte, but you can brush that over your ear wires, any kind of metal that might tarnish, to protect the plating, and it makes it last like fine jewelry. So it's just a great website. So if you use my link, it helps out my channel. It'd be really sweet of you to do that, but it doesn't change the prices or change anything for you guys. So check my description box. Anything that I've brought in that I know where I got it, I always link that to save you guys some time. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with another really cool video with this box. So subscribe to my channel and tap the bell notification so you don't miss that video. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you in the next video.